Alright guys, I got another vacuum project here. This here is a Hoover Soft Light Supreme that I actually trash picked from work. It has been sitting in the closet for presumably 15 years gathering dust, and I was lucky enough to find this, and I asked my boss if this was the one the cleaners used, and he said no, and then I talked to the cleaners. They said they never use it because it belongs to the gym, but since my manager doesn't want this thing, he allowed me to take it home with me. And I'm going to see if I can't get this thing fixed up and restored. So the first thing I noticed when I first looked past all this dust is I tried to see if it would turn on, but for one, I found out the switch was broken. Also, the little piece right here that connects the motor down into the base went missing, and why the switch wouldn't connect to the main rocker switch down there, come to find out, this little notch right here where it connects in actually broke off. So yeah, this base is gonna need to get a new switch rod put in. But anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is test to see if this thing still runs. Now I'm gonna have to swap the motor onto another Elite that I have just to see if it works. Alright, now that I got this thing tore apart, see all the years of neglect shining upon this thing. And one of the things I'm gonna pay attention to is cleaning up this old thing. Now there's one of the clips that hold on to the side where the hood pops up that broke off over time. The motor seems to be in good condition. It's just extremely dusty. And definitely the shaft is a bit rusty, but the motor doesn't feel bad. It spins and all, but I'm gonna have to clean this all up. And I decided to hook the motor into my Elite 2 to see if it runs. Alright, so here's where everything sits now. Took the bottom axle off right here. There's the bottom plate, and here's the brush roll. It definitely is worse for wear. I'm probably gonna try finding a replacement for. But as you can see, this is one of the lower end styles with the single row of brushes. There's the hood. All the plastic parts I've decided to just throw in the dishwasher just to try and clean them off a little faster. And when I looked into the bag here, I found out this is actually a Dirt Devil bag that it runs. So obviously this is not the original bag, and it's filled up with Lord knows what. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take off the outer bag here, and I'm going to attempt to throw it in the washer to get this thing cleaned up. Also, when I took the motor out, I decided to give it a complete, or at least the casing, a complete wipe down, just to kind of make sure that everything's going good. It did have a headlight in it. I immediately insisted that the old headlight was just blown out, so I'm going to go ahead and replace it when I put everything back together. But here, I looked inside here, and come to find out, this is actually the newer style 20 blade fan, which is more shatter resistant and definitely improves airflow over the stock 7 blade, like in the 7 amps. Here's your dust seal. I'm going to head and tap that out right there. Alright, now that I got all the parts set to the side, I then realized something. Before I get busy cleaning the thing up, let's first go ahead and see if this motor runs. And to use the motor running project, I'm going to use my Hoover Elite 350 to test this motor out. One thing I did notice is you will notice on the bottom cord for the Soft Light, or at least the ones that have the 12 amp motor. I'm not too sure if the 7 amps or the 7.2 amps had this, but there's actually 3 prongs that hook up the cord to the motor right there. As you can see, the original prongs on the Elite 350 motor, this one's a 5 amp, have only 2. So I learned you couldn't use this cord if you're going to try and hook up the original cord to the newer style motor, which is kind of interesting, but luckily it fits right into place. It does what it's supposed to. So I'll plug everything up and see if this runs. Alright, got the motor all hooked up on the Elite 350. 15 years of sitting in a closet gathering dust, and here's how it runs. And just for the record, yes, I did not hook up the belt. But anyway, it actually sounds pretty nice. I'm surprised. I thought I would need to give the motor an oiling. Or at least the bearings, that is. But surprisingly, it sounds very nice. So now that we know that the motor runs, let's get started by cleaning the thing. And this thing is so dirty that wet wipes are definitely not going to be much help here. So one thing I'm going to try doing is the lazy way of doing things. I'm going to throw all this stuff in my dishwasher. There's the hood. There's the wheel axle. I'm going to have to really get myself organized here, but I'll be back once I got everything in. Alright, now that everything's in place, got the motor tie downs on there. One thing I think I should do is turn the bottom plate inside out so that it clears. All we need to do is just get me the last bit of soap. Shut her up. And turn it on. Alright. Now about 3 hours later, this should come out squeaky clean. Also, I took out the switch rod since this is going to be useless since this bottom piece broke off. So that's going to get replaced. Alright, now while all the plastic parts are getting a much needed bath in the dishwasher, we're going to give the soft outer bag cover a nice shower too. And first off, we're going to throw it in my washer. Get out one of my soap pods. You just throw one of them in there. And then put it on very small load. I'm going to put it on 10 and wash her away. And about a few minutes later, I'll come back and check on it again. Alright, now that it's done, it already looks much better than before. I'm not too sure, but I think some of the lettering might have peeled off, but that's fine. At least it came out much better than it did first time I got it. Alright, next thing you're going to want to do is lay your soft bag in a nice place to dry. Now, I'm going to air dry this thing because a lot of people are against throwing this into the dryer because some people say the bag will actually shrink when you do that. And second of all, I'm not putting that in the dryer because there's so much plastic on this thing, it'll just bang around in there and be noisy as hell. I actually tried it once before making this video and it just almost shook my dryer around, so I'm leaving it to dry overnight. And hopefully this should come out nice and dry and be ready to put back on when I'm done. Alright, here are the parts I've been cleaning up while the plastic parts are in the dishwasher. Got my motor right here. I just put in a fresh new LED light bulb on it, so it should have a much brighter light and definitely will have a much longer lifespan compared to a halogen, excuse me. Here's the Brushroll. Did give it a nice servicing and cleaned it up as best as I could. Besides, the bristles aren't really in bad of shape. They're just a little bit soft compared to most Elite Brushrolls I've seen. Hopefully this should work a little bit better. I've got a belt right here because I'm gonna put this on because the original belt was stretched and it probably isn't worth it. Unfortunately, this is the only attachment that the vacuum came with, the extension wand, and this is the lower model with the wraparound hose. So anyway, I will go ahead and get back to you once the plastic parts are done washing. Alright, now, so what I'm ending up doing, since I'm too impatient to wait for the part I just ordered tonight, is the switch rod is the main thing that needed to be replaced, because that's what actually ended up getting that thing put in a closet for 15 years, because this little notch piece at the end broke off years ago, and this is the screw that holds the base to the motor that was also missing. And what ended up happening, since I was too impatient to wait, I wound up gutting my Elite Supreme for these parts, and then the parts I have on order will go on it. So, but for now, let's put these on the Soften Light as soon as the parts come out of the dishwasher.
The next morning.
Alright, now that it's all done, let's see how they came out. Oh, not too bad. There still might be some parts that need to dry off, so I'll go ahead and do that. Alright, so I started laying out all the pieces here to dry, at least all the plastic pieces. Got everything right here. And also on the base here I put the new to it switch rod in place, so it'll solve the problem that it had when it originally was torn apart. So once everything dries up, I'll start piecing it back together. Alright, now I am in the final stage of finishing up this trash found Hoover Soft Light. I'm just putting the motor back into its place. Oops. Sometimes you will have some parts that like to come off. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and tighten down these screws. Alright, everything's in place. Pretty nice. So now, last part, we're going to slide the new belt onto the shaft, like so. And now the only thing left to do is put the hood onto the vacuum base. Make sure it latches in place. There we go. Put on the height adjustment knob. And make sure everything's tight. And the project is complete. Now the only thing left to do is to test run this thing to see how my hard work at fixing this thing paid off. Alright, it's all plugged in. So let's give this thing a test run. Well, it runs amazing. It definitely sounds a little bit noisier compared to my other Elites, but that could just be me, or the fact that this actually has a 12 amp motor compared to the 7 amp, 6 amp, or 5 amp. But anyway, the fix-up project on this thing surely went great. I'm sure there's a few things I'll probably tinker with here and there to get it running in tip-top shape. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this trash pick fix-up of this Hoover Soft Light Supreme. Please like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.